Welcome back to the Daily Effort Podcast. My name is Sam, and today I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about a topic that I personally really like. We're going to be talking about goals. How do you set smart goals? And I'm going to be talking about three things when it comes to setting goals. In particular, I'm going to talk about just expectations when it comes to goal setting. Then I'll walk through how to actually do it, and then I'll cover some common pitfalls that I have made myself and I've seen pretty frequently when it comes to people just setting goals. But if it is your first time listening, welcome. If you've listened to the Daily Effort podcast before, welcome back. Truly appreciate your support. But main reason, why I do the podcast is to make sure I'm giving you the knowledge so that really for you, so that you can start to put in high quality effort on a daily basis so you can go out and achieve the success in life that you actually want. And my only ask is, especially if you get value from an episode, please just share it. Obviously, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we'll be on Apple really here really soon. But if you get some value from it, just share it with a friend, share it on social media. I would really, really appreciate that, because I'm going to keep everything here centered around, I would say, mainly mindset, fitness, family, faith. A lot of the application stuff that I talk about will be applicable to, what you do in fitness, and then also family as well. And then faith will obviously be intertwined. So that's really what I do here. And that's my only ask, is that if you get something out of it, please just share the podcast. Now, diving into talking about just really goal setting. And before I dive into this, I want to be able to just set some expectations with it that will cut down on a lot of frustrations, in my opinion, when it comes to just goal setting in general. And first off, first thing I want to say when it comes to the mindset you should have when approaching working towards a goal, especially after you set a goal, is just understanding that it's going to take longer than you think. And I know I say that over and over and over again, but it's the truth. It is going to take a minute to get to where you want to go. Now, there are some goals that you'll achieve sooner than others. Like if it's a fitness goal, I would say some of those you'll be able to achieve faster than you actually think. Most of the time you can, but then there's other goals in life that are going to take a second. I mean, when we're thinking about maybe a financial goal that you have, or maybe getting into a house that you actually want, or a car that you want, or I love watches. It's like working towards getting some watches that I want. It's going to take a little time, and I'm okay with that. But I used to not be that way. And just in today's society, I feel like it is really easy for all of us to just fall into the trap of thinking that things are going to come fast. And we just struggle with the delayed gratification side of things. And truly, training yourself to be okay with not reaching a goal immediately, that's a skill, in my opinion. And it's a skill set that has to be continuously honed over and over and over and over again, or you're just gonna lose it and start to get impatient, which again is not a good thing. So that's the first expectation I have, is goals are going to take a while. And the example that I'll give, I'm really big on sharing stories to just help drive a point home. But the story I'll share is going back to when I was in high school and also in college. And when I was working, especially in high school, to hopefully have an opportunity to play football at the college level, something that I always did was work on my 40-yard dash time. And I will be completely honest, my 40-yard dash sucked. But especially when I first started, I think my first ever 40-yard dash was it was probably a 6 flat. I was so slow. I did not have an athletic bone in my body, but that's something that I was like, okay, I want to get better at it. And I think when I ran that 6 flat, I can't remember how old I was. Probably wasn't even in high school as of yet, but that's something that I set my mind to, that I was going to improve, is start working on decreasing how long it took me to run the 40-yard dash. And I thought that, honestly, I was looking at a lot of college players, a lot of pro players. I'm like, I can get there in a year or 2 years. And in reality, especially now, what I've learned is that it takes a lot of training to get down to a very fast 40-yard dash time. There's a lot of things that go into it, from nutrition to your training to, do genetics play into it? I would say genetics are only going to come into play if you're going from like a 4.440 to like a 4.240. I think that's where genetics will really play a little bit of a role. But outside of that, don't bring genetics into it, basically. But it takes years to get good at it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to happen really fast. And it was just sometimes frustrating for me that it was just taking longer than I really thought it would. And honestly, you can take that and apply it to any situation in life, or even if I was going through college. Well, same thing. Or when I started my career at First Form, I thought that, oh, well, I'm going to start to go and I'm going to be able to get good at this very quickly. I'll move up pretty quickly. And it took a good 3 years for me to start even seeing the success that I actually wanted to. And a big mistake, because obviously a lot of what I'll do is, I will help other people sometimes, build their businesses, is, well, I see a lot of people think that, a business is going to be built overnight. I've seen people go and try to build a business and thinking that the money's going to come fast, people are going to listen to them, and that's just not true. It doesn't work that way. It takes a long time to build a great business. And that's what I always remind myself when it comes to goals. The sooner you can accept that it's going to take a little while to get to the goal that you actually want, it just allows you to settle in and execute. That's the biggest thing. But really with goals, why we should even set goals to begin with is because, well, it's going to teach you to be more aware, because again, you're going to have to be paying attention. Are you moving towards a goal? Are you not moving towards a goal? What do you need to adjust to stay on track? And different things like that. You're going to learn new things as you work towards a goal, because you're going to have to develop different skill sets. It's going to keep you humble. Lots of times it just helps you to have more of an open mind. So goals are such an important thing. It doesn't matter whether you don't even have to set a goal in fitness, but you should just have goals in life, because if you're wanting to, seriously, when I talk about the whole point of this podcast, helping you, giving you the tools that you need to put in high quality, just effort on a daily basis. It's like, this is one of those things that, okay, well, you gotta have goals in order to actually start to put in high quality, intentional effort on a daily basis. Because again, if you don't have goals, well then, one, how are you going to know what you're working towards in life? And then two, well, you're not going to necessarily put as much intentional effort into something if you don't know what it's actually working you towards. That's the thing that we have to remember here. So I wanted to touch on just that one, really it was one main expectation when it came to goals. You have to just accept the fact it's going to take a little more time than you want it to. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But this is also why we should execute on a daily basis, because we have to remember we don't know when our time here on earth is done. And I know that can be a little bit of a morbid thought, but you don't know. You have no idea. It could be literally in the next second. It could be the next hour. It could be tomorrow. It could be next month. It could be 10 years from now. You never know. It could be 50 years from now. It could be 100 years from now. We have no idea. So it makes it where we have to attack each and every single day with a lot of intentionality, make sure we're putting in the correct effort to get us to where we want to go. So enough about the expectations. Moving on to talking about truly setting goals. And I know everybody has their own way of setting goals. I really love the SMART goal framework. It has just tremendously helped me. I know there's probably different ways that you can set goals, but that's just one way that I really enjoy doing it. And I'll talk about why as I step through it. But the SMART goal framework, when we talk about the word SMART, the S stands for specific, the M stands for measurable, the A stands for attainable, R stands for, I use the word relevant, some people say realistic, but I'm going to say relevant, and then the T stands for time bound. Have a time that you want to achieve the goal in. And I'm going to step through this first, because step through all these letters, because really, and I'll talk about common pitfalls in a second, but some of them just might be intertwined here a little bit. But most of the time, people have an idea of something that they want to do, but it's not a goal as of yet. For example, some people might say, man, I really want to get in shape. Okay, great. What does that look like to you? Are you going to have to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, and then you're in shape? Or a lot of people are like, man, I want to get rich. Okay, well, what does that look like to you? Is that saving $15,000, $30,000, $50,000, or like what is it? What is it? It's like you got to get really specific with it before anything. And again, some of you listening, you might be like, yeah, I know this, but okay, I would encourage you to continue to listen because you might know this, you might have heard this, but knowing and doing are two different things, completely two different things. So you might have a goal, but just wait till when I get to the common pitfalls, because a lot of times we might be good at setting goals, but there's a couple things that usually a lot of people don't do well when it comes to goals, like circling back to see if we're actually progressing towards it. So the S in SMART stands for specific. Get really specific with it. If you say you want to get in shape, or you say you want to lose weight, okay, well, how much weight? Or if you say, you want a family, okay, what does that look like? Is it, you get married? Do you have kids? Like, what does it look like? Get really specific with it. Then measurable. This is the piece I love. This is a piece most people miss, but what's a measurable piece that's going to let you know you're moving towards a goal or not? And the analogy I will give here is a financial goal. Let's say you're wanting to save, and for the sake of math, because I'm not great at math, let's say you want to save $400 in a month. Okay, and let's assume there's 4 weeks in a month. Well, then you need to save $100 every single week. Or maybe you get paid every 2 weeks. Well, then you're saving $200 per paycheck. And that's your measurable piece. The $200 per every 2 weeks, or $100 per week. That's the measurable piece. Or even if it's a fitness goal, okay, well, maybe you want to lose 8 pounds in 8 weeks. Okay, you're 1 pound a week. That's a measurable piece. Now, attainable. With the attainable piece, this is just really, you're going to have to, I feel like a lot of times you would have to talk to someone and be like, okay, hey, is this something that I can achieve in the time frame that I have set? Because sometimes we're not going to know. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but with the R, what I really want to talk about the R and the word SMART is relevant. Is it relevant to where you want to go in life? Like, is this goal truly worthwhile to you? Does it mean something to you? Does it mean enough to go and chase it? Because if it's a shallow reason, then you're probably not going to go and chase it. That's what I have learned. And with that piece, for example, what I'll say is maybe you're like, hey, I want to get in shape, but you don't have a reason for wanting to do it. It's just something you want to do because you saw one of your friends doing it. But let's say maybe all of a sudden you have a kid and you're like, well, why I want to get in shape is for my kid. Okay, great. Now you have a little bit more of a push. You have a little bit more of a drive to actually go out and achieve that. So that's a good thing. So is it relevant to where you want to go in life? Is it relevant to the life you want to create for yourself or your family? Like, really sit down and think about that piece. And then the T stands for time. Set a time frame you want to achieve the goal in. Like, you got to set a time frame. And again, most people don't want to do this. And I'll talk about this more when I get to the common pitfalls. But a lot of times we're afraid of failure. A lot of times we're worried about, well, what if I don't achieve the goal? Well, guess what? There's so many goals I haven't achieved. Like, so what? At least you set a goal, and at least you work towards it relentlessly. It's like, do we want to achieve it? Yes. However, at least you're working towards it. So make sure you set a very specific goal. Make sure you're in tune with the measurable piece. Make sure it's attainable in the time frame you have set. Make sure it's relevant to where you want to go, and make sure, again, you have a time frame you want to achieve that goal by. So I'm going to walk through really quick just a SMART goal for maybe give a couple examples. I know I already gave a couple examples, but again, going back to fitness, let's say you're wanting to like for me right now, I have a lifting goal in fitness. I want to PR my front squat at 285. Last time I maxed out, I was at 275. So I'm going up by 10 pounds. So I want to see if I can't do this in 8 weeks. So for me, a good measurable piece would be, okay, when I am when I'm maxing, I should probably max at the end of 4 weeks to see, did I increase my front squat by 5 pounds? And then, okay, if I'm on track, well then cool, great. Then I need to keep running the game plan that I am doing, like tracking my food, hitting my protein, hitting my calories, like working out every day, drinking my water, sleeping as much as I can with a 3-month-old. And then from there, okay, by the time the next 4 weeks, so that by the time the 8-week mark comes around, if I was on pace and just assuming I did everything else that I should have, well, then I should hit that goal of PRing the front squat. A financial goal, great example of this is, so me and my wife were continuing to build up our emergency fund. So we dipped into our savings a little bit to, get the house that we're in now. Then plus with Layla here, it's like we dipped into that a little bit. So we're wanting to build it back up. And for us, we're wanting to add an extra, at this point in time, $10,000 to our emergency fund. And, this year, that is a very achievable goal, but I know I need to save $1,000, per month. So my specific goal is increasing my emergency fund by $10,000. It's very specific. What's the measurable piece? $1,000 per month. If I hit that $1,000 mark, saving every single month, and do it for the entire year, well then I know I'm going to reach what I want in my emergency fund, the extra $10,000 that I want inside of there. And again, time frame by the end of the year, and really the next 10 months. So boom, that is very specific. It's measurable. I know it's attainable because we budgeted everything out. I can do that. Cool, great, got it. That's something we can do. And again, have that time frame set on it. And it's very relevant to where we want to go, because once we build that emergency fund up, well then guess what? We're going to start taking that extra money and starting to invest it even more. So those are 2 examples that I have. And one thing that I'll tie in here is, when you set a good goal, it teaches you to actually take ownership of your life, ownership over where you're going. And that's something that's really important. So much of the time, it's easy for us as humans to cast blame, say, "Oh, it's not my fault." Going back to high school, when I was working towards wanting to play football in college. Well, here's the thing: I was actually bitter for a long time towards my parents because I wanted to go play contact, and I was homeschooled. So it's like, but they didn't want me to do that because they didn't want me to be around bad influences. And out of respect, I didn't do that for them. And for the longest time, I put the blame on them, like it's their fault I didn't, get to go play at the college level. It's their fault I didn't get to go play at the pro level. When in reality, no, that's not true. I just was not good enough. It's like I truly wasn't fast enough. I didn't have the skill sets, didn't have the knowledge to get there. Simple as that. So it's not their fault, it's my fault. And goals help you learn how to take better ownership of your life, over your life, and helping yourself get to where you want to go. So I want to say that when it comes to goals, and if you're going to set a goal, whether you're a dad, a mom, whatever it is, that doesn't matter. Set a goal in fitness. I encourage you to do that. Set a goal in fitness. Why? Because your external appearance says a lot about what is happening internally. And that's something that's really important to remember. And I can tell you, look, now that I have a daughter, I'm very, very passionate about the next generation. And I don't like the thought of the next generation being lazy, being sloppy, not taking care of themselves, not setting a great example for the people around them. And if you're out there and you do have kids, and even if you don't have kids, you should take care of yourself physically, because there's always someone watching, there's always someone looking to you as the example, and you should set that example. And if you're wanting to level up your life, and if you're wanting to build confidence in yourself, if you're wanting to build discipline, if you're wanting to build so many other skill sets, honestly, I learned a lot of those things once I started taking fitness seriously and started working towards it. So I encourage you, set a fitness goal. If you and look, here's the thing with this. Look, if you want some help doing it, reach out. I'm happy to do that. Just drop a comment, and I will gladly help you do that and gladly help you towards that. Again, the career I have is literally in the fitness industry, so I'm more than happy to do that if it's something that you're struggling with. But transitioning to talking about common pitfalls when it comes to goals, and one of the things that, or one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about goals is because I can't remember if someone said this or not, but something that just keeps going around in my mind is don't let making a living get in the way of making a life. And that's something that just really hits home for me. And goals help you make a life. Help you make the life that you want. Now, a couple of the common pitfalls that I see once someone does set a goal. Most of the time, a lot of people don't set a time frame because they're afraid that maybe they'll fail in the time frame that they have set. And look, with this, don't worry about this piece, because most people don't even set goals to begin with. And if you do fall short, this is where it comes back to, 3 questions that I've talked about a lot. What went well? What didn't go well? What are we going to improve on? And then you just recalibrate, get refocused, and go back out and start working towards it again. That's all it is. That's all you got to do. And don't be afraid of just setting that hard line when it comes to when you want to achieve that goal. Because look, there's some goals that I don't achieve. If I look back last year, there were several goals that I didn't achieve. Okay, cool. Well, I get some feedback from it, and then I just readjust and go back out. That's okay. It is what it is. So don't be afraid of failure. Failure truly only happens when you just stop working towards a goal. So set a time frame. Then if someone does have a goal, a lot of times what I see happen is most people don't even circle back to see if they're progressing towards it or not. They set a goal and then they don't look at it. They're like, okay, cool, great. I'm going to go out and achieve it. And I would say I relate that more to kind of the New Year's resolutions. A lot of people will do that. They'll set something that they want to work towards. Most of the time it's not an idea, it's not a goal, but let's say it is a goal. Well, they set a goal for what they want to work towards, and then they don't come back to it. And what I encourage you to do when it comes to your goals, write them down every single day so you can see it, you can hold yourself accountable to it. Your mind starts thinking about creative ways to truly be able to go out and achieve that goal. So write it down every single day and make sure you're progressing towards it, because the beauty of it is it's like there's a certain time frame that you have set that you want to achieve the goal by. So you should be looking to see on a daily or weekly basis, hey, are you chipping towards it? Are you getting closer to it? If you're not, okay, what needs to be adjusted so you do move towards it? It's that simple. Don't just put the goal away and not look at it. So that's what I've seen is most people don't set a time frame, and then also most people don't see that if they're progressing towards the goal or not. Then third thing that I see is most people don't even have a goal to begin with. Most people just have an idea. Oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in shape, or man, I really want to save some money, or oh, I want to make more money, or man, I want to have a family, or whatever it is. It's like it's an idea, it's not a goal. It's like, okay, put it down, figure out how do you start working towards it. Then fourth common pitfall, most people will put down activities and assume that it's a goal. And what I mean by that is what I commonly see when it comes to fitness is, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but people are like, if I ask them, oh, well, how's your, what's a goal? What's a goal? And, how are you progressing towards it? And they're like, oh, well, I'm doing 10,000 steps a day. Okay, that's good. Like, that can be a goal, doing 10,000 steps every single day. But why are you doing 10,000 steps? And they're like, oh, well, I'm wanting to drop a few pounds. Okay, great. Well, how many pounds are you wanting to drop? And that's why you're doing the 10,000 steps. And losing the weight is actually the goal. The goal is not doing 10,000 steps every single day. That's just a part of what you have to do to get to the goal. That's an action step to help you get there. So don't assume activities are goals. And you can have many goals on a daily basis, things that you want to achieve. But again, you got to set these, I would say, short-term, longer-term goals. But the thing I'll start to wrap us up on is just saying, again, going back to the quote, don't let making a living get in the way of making a life. Go out and make the life that you want, because you're truly capable of it. You truly are. So again, running back through things like expectation wise, hey, remember, goals are going to take a little bit longer than you think they will. Just accept that fact, settle in, execute on a daily basis. Then number 2, when it comes to setting goals, go off the SMART goal framework. You can Google this and it'll pop up. And if you want help with it, cool, I'm happy to help you out with it. Start with a fitness goal, because that's going to level up your life in so many different ways. Then third thing, common pitfalls. 1, make sure you have that time frame. Make sure if you set a goal, you're coming back to it to make sure you're progressing towards it. And then again, make sure you even have a goal. And lastly, remember, activities aren't necessarily a goal. It's like they're things to help you get to the goal. So that's what I have for y'all. Again, if you found value in this, please, share it with a friend, share it on social. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I appreciate you tuning in and everything. But other than that, go out, create that life that you actually want, set goals, work towards it relentlessly. Don't let bad days dictate whether you just stop working towards that goal or not, because if you continue to push forward and you work towards something long enough and hard enough, you can achieve anything that you want in life. But other than that, thank y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all so much. If there's anything I can do for y'all, please let me know. But other than that, have an amazing day and God bless.